Hello everyone. This video, I've got a little bit of dust on my webcam there. Okay, this video is actually, let's say a part 2 or reflections following on from my last video about the outrage across the Islamic world against the film mocking the Prophet Muhammad. And I feel it's appropriate to make another video because there's been developments since that last one. I think when I made the last video, the unrest had been in Egypt, Yemen and Libya. Since then, obviously it's spread to other countries as far away as Pakistan, and I believe even in Thailand, which is a Islamic minority, there was protests. Well, we saw protests all over the world. I'd like to just state my reflections in light of some of the developments that have happened. I think, firstly, I stand by everything I said in the last video. I do think we have a problem with violent Islamist reactions every time we see a perceived offence. However, I think it's also important to put things in context. In my last video I said it's important to recognise that not every Muslim reacts like this. And I'll say that again. This week the political magazine Newsweek had a big glaring headline saying Muslim anger, and they show these angry bearded men with the usual sort of stereotype image of angry Islamists, but that headline really should have read Islamist anger, not Muslim anger. I think it was bad journalism. It was irresponsible to imply that this is the same sort of reaction with all 1.5 billion Muslims in the world. I hate Islamism, I hate religious fundamentalism, but I also hate crude generalisations. And that is just as dangerous as attacks on freedom of speech is to stir up vilification against all individuals of a religion. I mean, they actually worked out that the actual number of people participating in protests. In my last video I said it's not just a few people, and I stand by that. It's not just a few people, there are thousands protesting. But even in light of that, it comes down to about, they estimate somewhere in the region of 1% of the entire Muslim population in the world. So there's a lot of Muslims haven't bothered to protest because there's an argument that's been put forward this week. I've seen it in several sources, and I think it's a good argument. The issue here a lot of people seem to be having is that this was an offence against God. But a very valid point is that if God was really so offended, would he not take matters into his own hands? Would Allah not decide to strike down the filmmakers with a bolt of lightning? Would they not have some sort of karma? Would there not be, you know, the point has been made, this would be a very, very petty God to be offended by a stupid film. Someone also made the point, if this is a reaction to the trailer, goodness knows what the reaction would be like to the main film. But we do have to put it in context. It isn't a case that Muslims are crazy people going out there and setting fire to things because of offence. There's Islamists doing that. Islamists are Muslims, but they're fanatical Muslims. They're only one branch. Most Muslims are not hardcore Islamists. Somebody I know from Bangladesh this week asked me what I thought of the film, and I told him pretty much what I've been saying in these videos. I thought the film was reckless, but I am more concerned about the violence around it. And I do think there's valid issues about that. This week there were claims, looking at other religions, there were claims that Jesus may have been married. Now many fundamentalist Christians, purist Christians, may well see that as deeply offensive, but we haven't seen that sort of reaction from hardline Christians. The point I'm trying to make with these videos, what I observe is not so much that there's a problem with all Muslims. That clearly is not the case, but that there's, I think one way to put it is the fundamentalist Muslims, that is the Islamists, the Salafists, seem to be very capable of getting attention. The reason there's such a focus on them, because I know a lot of Muslims get frustrated with this. They say that isn't Islam, those people aren't acting, they aren't Muslims. I disagree with that. I think they are Muslims. You know, I would make this analogy. A corrupt police officer is still a police officer. A corrupt politician is still a politician. A cowboy builder is still technically a builder. Likewise, a Muslim who happens to be fanatical and is taking every surah to its most extreme literal definition is still a Muslim. And you cannot gloss that over. And I think if there's one reason Islamophobia exists, it's precisely because of this attitude of denial from a lot of Muslims that Islam is real. I really don't think they're helping the religion by pretending these problems don't exist. And besides, all those people have nothing to do with Islam. They act in the name of Islam. That's just a fact. They attend mosques. That's a fact. They're influenced by hate preachers. That's a fact. They quote references from the Quran. That's a fact. So you can't pretend these people aren't Muslim. Maybe they're not your type of Muslim. Maybe they're an embarrassment to your religion, but you can't pretend they have nothing to do with the religion. By the way, if anyone's wondering, this portrait in the background of the Pope, I'm not a Catholic. I just happened to get that in Rome as a souvenir. Nothing more, nothing less. So just to understand that, I'm not a Catholic. It's nothing more than a souvenir. I have pictures of American presidents up here. I like to decorate my walls. So that's just to understand the context there. Yes, so coming back to the sort of point of this video, I've just seen a debate on France 24, the English language French news station, quite a vigorous debate about a publication called Charlie Hebdo. Charlie Hebdo is a satirical magazine who this week decided to publish more depictions of Muhammad. I believe the depictions were him naked, pictures mocking him and so on. And there's been an interesting response from that. In France, freedom of expression is an absolute founding principle of that nation. France was founded on liberty, equality, fraternity. Liberty includes the liberty to free expression. As a precaution against any possible violence, France, under the Hollande administration, decided to close its embassies around the world, and I believe they banned specific Islamist demos. As it transpires so far, I haven't heard about any actual violence toward France, specifically. Yeah. I would say there's another issue though I want to address. It isn't so much about the violent demonstrations. Like I already said, it's wrong to say that that's a majority Muslim sentiment, because it isn't. But there is another issue I've come across. There's Muslims I've seen online who are peaceful insofar as they wouldn't use violence in response to this film. But they are now calling for YouTube and Google to be banned. And that's a point I'd like to address in this video. I think that's a completely wrong idea, and I'll just explain briefly why. Firstly, Google and YouTube are two of the world's biggest search engines. They're American companies, obviously, but they're two of the world's biggest search engines. If a country like Pakistan bans them, which I believe it's considering doing, then yes, you may prevent viewing of this film to some extent, although I think it would probably be leaked elsewhere. You may prevent that, but you're also preventing every other source of information online, everything. Google provides a reference to Wikipedia. It provides a reference to a whole manner of informative sites. Now, let's imagine there's a Pakistani student who has an assignment and they need to do research online, get relevant material. How are they going to do that? This is restricting knowledge. You know, it's such an extreme measure to ban an entire website because of one video. I mean, let's put this in context. There's millions and millions of videos uploaded to YouTube every day. I think it would be much better for these people to just count have counter arguments. You know, upload their own videos, argue why they think it's wrong. But to ban YouTube, it's not workable anyway, because that film will be leaked somehow on pirate sites or whatever. And banning Google is stopping information. Also, that punishes non-Muslims in Pakistan and other countries who are absolutely not to blame for the film. It's just a stupid response to alleged offence. I think what this whole thing has shown is that Islam is, frankly, a deeply sensitive religion. And many Muslims have shown that. Even those Muslims who aren't outside violently demonstrating have indicated that they believe there should be censorship. And censorship is characteristic of a totalitarian regime. It's the sort of thing that dictatorships and one-party regimes use to silence opposing views. So you don't win an argument by censoring people. I'm not 100% against censorship. I think, for example, if you have a specific hateful video, let's say, for example, there was a video calling for genocide of Muslims, in that case, yeah, censor it, absolutely. But let's put this in context. This was a badly made, badly acted, silly film that didn't really hurt anybody. I mean, I honestly think some of these people protesting need to get things into proportion here. Look at some of the problems Pakistan faces. I also made this point in my Pakistan's brutal blasphemy laws video. Pakistan is a country that struggles with extreme poverty, natural disasters. It's got several ongoing armed conflicts. I can understand anger at serious issues such as the drone strikes, which I believe are morally wrong on the part of the Americans. So if people were angry about that, I think that's entirely understandable. But they need to get a priority to this idea that a film is somehow more offensive than the other issues facing Pakistan and in other Islamic states. It's just insane. So basically, in conclusion, I stand by everything I said in the last video. I think we have to be responsible when we're talking about this. It isn't every Muslim, and a lot of Muslim people have both condemned the violence and they haven't reacted particularly strong to either the film or this satirical magazine. But I have seen also a lot of Muslims calling for censorship online, and I strongly disagree with them. I think it's the wrong way forward. I think I think it's much better if you're a Muslim and you're angry about these films. Why don't you just upload a video? Or if you don't know how to do that, if you don't have the technology to do it, comment on a video. Set up a group. To try and silence other opinions, that is cowardice on your part. And you know, one stupid American film doesn't give you a license to prevent knowledge that these search engines provide in so many other ways. And it's ridiculous. It really, really is. And I'm fed up of religious sensitivity. Having said that, I watched a debate on France 24, and there was an American guy, I'm not quite sure who he was, and he was saying, sort of making this point, a free press is absolute. I don't entirely agree with that. I think a free press also has to be a responsible press. I stand by the right for satire to mock religion, for satire to ridicule religion, but for example, that's Newsweek magazine Muslim Anger. That was irresponsible journalism. And I do think some journalists who use this expression, freedom of the press, are very arrogant and seem to think that implies they could do whatever they like. Now, in the UK, we've had a phone hacking scandal involving the tabloid press, and that's going off onto another subject. But the reason I mention it is because it highlights the fact that actually, no, freedom of press does not give journalists a right to do whatever they want, in the same way that no one else has the right to do whatever they want. And there are aspects of the press that are blatantly bigoted, blatantly racist, and blatantly a negative force in society. I believe in free expression because I believe in liberty, but I also believe in responsible free expression, and I don't believe in stirring up provocation just for the sake of it. I think that's that carries little credibility. Okay, so that's the rant over. If you're wondering about the light, it's a sunny day and I'm right next to the window, but I'm trying to find a good spot. My room's a little bit messy at the moment. Anyway, that's my thoughts on this issue. Let me know what you think. Thank you.